Hey friends, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Deborah from Barefoot Bites. Come spend some time with me today while we make some yummy food for lunch and dinner, and let's chat about the feeling of being overburdened in motherhood. This topic is really close to my heart, and so I have some practical tips on how to manage it. So grab your favorite beverage, get cozy, and let's just hang out. So I recently came out of a season where I was really overburdened as a wife, a mom, and just everything that encompasses all of that. So it was a season where I had children, I have three young kids, and they were constantly getting sick. Once one child got sick, you already knew the next one was going to get it, and then the next one. And it was just a cycle that was just happening over and over and over again. And it just adds to the stress, and you're not sleeping because kids are getting up. But one thing that I found that was helpful, this is not a part of our overburden tips, but this was a beverage that my mom used to make for me as a kid. My parents are Haitian, so every time any of us were sick, whatever illness you had, the first thing my mom would do is make this thing called miel. So it's water with fresh lime juice, but you can also use like the ones in the bottle and really good honey. My mom luckily will bring me raw honey from Haiti, and I will use it and I will give it to the kids. It helps soothe sore throats, and it just all around makes you feel good. So that's one thing I always just have on hand, just to always make for the kids anytime they're sick. Sometimes they won't drink it, but sometimes they will though, because it's sweet and they really like it. So I mean, you won't give it to a young baby because it does have honey in it, but I would give it to my toddlers. A little background on me. I'm a mom of three young kids. I used to work full time as an analyst at a consulting firm. My husband works full time, also from home. I used to work from home. Currently, I left my job and now I am a full time homemaker. But at the time when we were walking through that tough season, I did work full time, and our kids were all at home with us. And at that point, I was feeling really overburdened, always stressed, and it took to the point of me ending up in the hospital. That'll be another story for another day. Um, but walking through that season, I learned so much about how to manage that season, because it was the season I was in, about how to manage that feeling of or being overburdened. One of the first things I learned was not to overcomplicate things. And I will use this acronym, I'm sure you guys have heard it, was the KISS acronym. Keep it simple, stupid. And I would constantly say that to myself whenever I would make these big plans and just like pack on things on top of the already big responsibilities I already had, and just making my life more difficult than it had to be. And I would constantly, at the end of it, when I'm like at my breaking point, I would have to say, you know what, Deborah? Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. And then that would bring me back to reality of what I needed to do. One of the ways I kind of try to keep things like super simple is trying not to do everything on top of what I already have going on. So, like, I have kids who are at home, I have a house to manage, I have other priorities. And one thing that I've tried to do is really manage and eliminate a lot of extra fluff, like extracurricular activities that we were doing, anything that really wasn't a necessity and was just like learning to say no. It's okay to say no to things, and you don't have to feel bad about your kids not being in 15,000 activities. And one thing I've come to realize that it really is an American thing to put your kids in so many activities and just to have them like just as busy as adults. And it not only keeps you busy as the adult, but it also keeps the kids too busy. And so one thing we did was really try to eliminate all of that. And it really reduced stress. One thing that I also did was try to limit to like things that kept me outside of the home, whether it was doing excessive play dates or doing excessive, I don't know, like going to my gym or things like that, things that took me out of the home. I really limited it because it was stressful for me to have to think, I have to run and go do this, and then I have to make sure I'm coming back in time for nap time. And really cutting down all the extra fluff and just going back to the basic bones of what was the most important thing that I needed to do, is what I did. And let me tell you, it reduced a stress load on me, and realizing that I didn't have to like manage my time to do a bunch of different things outside of the home or running to different activities. And I found that to be really, really helpful in that season. So if you're going through a season of being just overburdened, super stressed, I hope to encourage you to just really eliminate the fluff. Eliminate what's going to make you stressed out. And again, keep it simple, stupid. Well, you don't have to, you're not stupid, but you just keep it simple. Like, and I feel like we often forget like these things can just add extra stress, and just cutting it out will just reduce all of that. And it's not going to fix your problems today, but it's just going to alleviate any extra stress or burden that you may have.
Birdie, birdie. Mommy, be a bird.
You guys can try it. Oh, all the mess.
Hey, you.
Let me
Mommy,
test it first.
I want to try.
Let me test it first to make sure it's not poison.
Mommy, I want to do first.
I do want to stop real quick and mention this snack that I made for myself for lunch. It has tomatoes, avocado, onions, garlic, olive oil, lime juice, salt, pepper, cumin, paprika, and a little bit of cayenne if you like the heat. And it is so good. The longer you leave it in the fridge, the better it like marries together. And it's a snack that you'll eat all the time. And I will probably just eat this all today. But it is one of my favorite things, and it will be on my blog soon at barefootbites.com. I want to get back to chatting about feeling overburdened in motherhood. And one of the things that I realized while I walked through this really difficult season was that I needed to create rhythms and routines rather than strict schedules. If you're a schedule person or a schedule girly, more power to you. But I'm talking to some of the other people that strict schedules tend not to work out, especially if you have small children. If something might happen that just puts a wrench in your plans or throws your whole day off. If you have set like routines and rhythms, it really doesn't affect the day that much because you know what to expect at some time, or like during sometime in the afternoon that something's going to happen. So one thing that I found was having the rhythms and routines and having a general idea of how the day will go. So then if I was, rather than doing a strict schedule of it, I was supposed to do something at exactly 9 o'clock, that if it didn't happen, then I wouldn't feel like my whole day is gone or everything is ruined. Um, One way I found to do this was having specific times, like there's a lunchtime, there's a nap time and bedtime, and knowing those parts of the days are going to happen, everything else can kind of flow all around it. I know that in the mornings we're going to do breakfast. I know that we're going to do early cleanup, and then I get some work done, and whatever it is that you do. Just have a general flow of the day. You know what to expect. The children know what to expect. And I think that's really helpful for not feeling super overburdened. Like if you know that maybe on Mondays or sometime in the afternoon you fold laundry, that's the time that you have that, and that's your rhythm. And have specific times of days and flows that works for you and your family. But creating rhythms really will help you feel less overburdened because you know what to expect. So right now it's afternoon, after nap time, and I'm starting to get working on dinner. My husband should be home soon. And one thing I like to do in the afternoon is have some Bible study or chat with my sisters. I have three other sisters, and we're all super close, and we're super close in age. And one thing that keeps me a little sane is having some afternoon chatting with them. And we just talk about everything and solve every world problem and just chat. And it's good for me to have just adult conversation just a little bit for the day. So I'm just gonna get dinner prepped. Tip on just feeling overburdened in motherhood is to do a little bit at a time. Whether that is cleaning or keeping up with your cleaning in your house, choose a day where you just focus on laundry, and you're not going to be doing cleaning the bathroom, sweeping, mopping, all of that. I mean, you may do a little bit of like sweeping, if you don't get the floors every day with little kids, it's gonna turn into a mess, but you're not doing a massive deep clean of the whole section of the house. Tackling the whole house all at once it's just going to make you feel stressed. It's going to make you feel overburdened, especially on top of everything that you have to do. So whether it be, for me, I like to choose the morning because that's when I'm the most productive. I'll choose maybe something to clean, whether it's my kitchen or a bedroom. Just a little bit at a time really helps. With laundry, one of the things that I like to do is on the mornings I'll do folding laundry with the kids, and it'll take maybe like an hour or so to get through. I'll do one load a day, which really helps me keep up with laundry. And if I miss a day of not doing one load a day, it really throws everything off. So one way for me to keep that mountain that I'm constantly buried under is to literally just do one load a day and try and fold a load of laundry a day. Now, I'm not saying it happens every day, but I definitely try to do that. And another thing that I do just to do a little bit at a time is dishes. Because we are home all day long and I make 3 meals a day from scratch, we tend to have a lot of dishes. So I try to run the dishwasher in the morning and then the evening and keep up with it like that. Because one thing we are trying to do, ladies, is not to overburden ourselves. So like not making big lofty plans to tackle the whole house and then get burned out when you just only like get to one or two rooms. So whether it is doing zone cleaning and designated certain days for certain tasks, or even one thing that I found is if you see something that's a mess or needs to be picked up, just do it right then and there. It just helps with the general maintenance of keeping up your home. Again, I'm not perfect. My house is not always perfect, but I definitely try to just keep up a little bit just so then I'm not so overwhelmed. The last tip I have about feeling overburdened in motherhood and how to manage that is really to try and create some time for you to rest during the day, if that's possible. I know that there are seasons where that's really not possible, but if you can, really prioritize making some time for you to rest. Again, I mentioned a little earlier in this video that I ended up in the hospital just due to being so overburdened and so much stress. Um, that one thing I do prioritize is a little bit of rest time for myself. And I do that during the kids' nap time. All of my kids are at the age where they still take naps, or my 4-year-old, about to be soon to be 5, is kind of in that iffy season of whether it's some hit or miss if she takes a nap. But what I really try and do is if she doesn't want to take a nap, I encourage and enforce that she does have to stay in her room and just find something quiet to do while the other two take a nap. And in that season, or even in that time, I'm laying down or I'm just sitting on the couch, just kind of decompressing and giving myself some chance to breathe, think, and rest because you need it, especially if you're at home all day with children, as I am. On top of that, working, I just need to give myself either, whether it is 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, an hour to just rest and relax and breathe. It's the time that I need to take. And I think all moms should have that time built in. If it's possible, especially in a season where you're just feeling so overwhelmed and overburdened, that little rest and respite will really help give you that second wind for that day, especially if you're at that point where after nap time when you need that extra boost for that 4 to 7 period, this rest can really help you. And I really encourage you to really try and build that into your day or schedule, if possible, so then you can really be the best you and show up as the best you for you, your family, and your home. So tonight, what I made for dinner, this was not my original plan. Again, I was making big, lofty dreams of making a bunch of different components, and I was already at the end of the day where I was already exhausted. I was solo parenting it for the afternoon or for the day, and I again had to tell myself to keep it simple. So I just decided to do a sheet pan and roast everything. So I made roasted potatoes, roasted broccoli, Brussels sprouts, some peppers, onions, and I also made some chicken. So I didn't make it, obviously. I do buy convenience food, although I typically make every food from scratch. I do keep some convenience items because again, we're trying to keep it simple if need be. So I put some just bare chicken. I get those at Costco. I put them on a sheet pan, put them in the oven, and then when they were all done, I mixed either some barbecue sauce or some spicy, I think it's like a sweet and spicy Polynesian sauce on some of the chicken, and it was so good. And then I assembled them into a bowl. I also added rice to my husband's because I know he wanted to have some rice. And this dinner was so easy because again, I'm not like cooking actively. I just did a lot of chopping, put them in the oven, and everything was just so easy to assemble. So like this is kind of like my version of a Buddha bowl. So I added for the children, I just added some potatoes, some chicken that didn't have any sauce that I knew they wouldn't eat it. And then for me and my husband, I made a bed of spinach, and then I added the potatoes, the peppers, onions, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and the chicken. And when I tell you guys this was so good, it was delicious. And actually, my husband's I added some rice to his as well. So here's your reminder if you are walking through a busy or stressful season and you're right now stressed about what you're going to make for dinner, kids are hungry and you have big dreams of making this big elaborate meal, but now you just feel overwhelmed. Just go back to the basics. If you have a protein, a carb, and a vegetable, that can be dinner. And one thing I always do is just keep a bunch of protein in the fridge already defrosted so I don't need to worry about that. But get yourself a sheet pan, put a bunch of vegetables on there, cut up a potato, sweet potato, or whatever it is for your carb, or if it's rice or anything like that, and just throw everything in the oven and just let the oven do the work. And when it comes out, you assemble it and you have a full-blown, balanced, nutritious meal for you and your family. And again, you'll look like a chef. So this is what we had for dinner tonight. I'm very happy that you stuck around to cook with me in my kitchen. And I hope to see you again. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.